Towards the end of September 2021, the New Zealand Government announced a new one-off residence visa pathway, which will allow the grant of residence to many work visa holders currently in New Zealand. This is one of the most significant decisions in New Zealand immigration history and could potentially result in the grant of residence to 165,000 migrants. So, why did the New Zealand Government take such a drastic step? Who is eligible and who misses out? And what are the three biggest problems applicants are going to face in being granted residence? Keep watching for the answers to these questions and more. My name's Hardeep Singh. I'm a lawyer with HS Law in Auckland, New Zealand, and this is our guide to New Zealand's one-off residence visa. The government says that they are making this decision to alleviate uncertainty faced by migrants and recognise the important part migrants play in New Zealand's economy. The fuller picture is more complicated. For the last 3 years or so, the government has been trying to reduce the number of new migrants to New Zealand. They have made it tougher and tougher for migrants to get residence on skilled grounds. Further, the government has slowed the processing of these residence applications to a crawl, limiting the numbers being granted residence. If this wasn't enough, the government completely closed the skilled migrant residence category to new applications pending a review. This meant that over 150,000 migrants had to put their future plans on hold and faced uncertainty about what the government would do next. What made it worse was that the government delayed, and then delayed some more on taking any meaningful steps. This led to frustration for migrants and the businesses that rely on them, leading some to even give up on their New Zealand dreams. At the same time, New Zealand's borders have been closed due to COVID. This has resulted in migration slowing to near zero levels with no guarantee of being able to attract new skilled migrants in the immediate future. Fast forward to September 2021, and the New Zealand government has made the decision to grant residence to a large group of work visa holders in the country in a move to try to supplement New Zealand's workforce, both across the board and in healthcare in particular. To be eligible for the residence visa, you must have been in New Zealand on the 29th of September 2021. And also, you must be on an eligible visa or have applied for an eligible visa on or before that date, and that visa must also be granted. You must also meet one of the three following criteria. One, you must have lived in New Zealand for 3 years or more. So that's the first criteria. Or alternatively, if you earn at or above the median wage, $27 per hour. Or the third criteria in the alternative is that you must work in a role on a scarce list. Short-term visa holders are not eligible, such as visitors, students, working holiday makers, and seasonal workers like those on the recognised seasonal employer scheme, or those who enter as short-term critical workers. The biggest group that misses out are the offshore workers who held eligible visas but for some reason or another were out of the country on the date of 29 September 2021. The 2021 residence visa will be open for applications in 2 phases, with the first group of people able to apply from the 1st of December 2021. This group includes those who have already made applications under the skilled migrant residence category and also those who've made applications under the residence from work category. Also included under this group are those who've submitted expressions of interest under the skilled migrant category and have included in their applications a dependent child who's over the age of 17. From the 1st of March 2022, all other eligible applicants can apply. All applications must be made by the 31st of July 2022. The fees have not been finalised yet, but there are indications that people who've already paid a fee for residence on other residence applications will be able to have it transferred to the new applications. So applicants who have already applied under a different category will by and large not have to pay two separate residence application fees. Immigration New Zealand hope to have the large majority of the applications processed within 12 months, and in some cases faster than that. Immigration New Zealand say they will be repurposing immigration officers from the other departments to handle the workload. So what are the three biggest obstacles applicants are going to face in being granted residence? While there's plenty of cause for celebration in the announcement of this new policy, and the criteria are relatively easy to meet, there are some migrants who shouldn't count their chickens before they've hatched. The first two groups of migrants are those with character issues. So this includes, for instance, A, those with even minor traffic or criminal convictions, and B, those who've accidentally or on purpose provided incorrect information to INZ on current or past applications. You might think that I'm slightly exaggerating, but no, unfortunately, as anyone knows who's ticked the wrong box in a visa application, Immigration New Zealand take these matters quite seriously. It's anticipated that the normal residence character policy is going to be applicable to the one-off residence visa, but there are some reasons to believe, which I won't go into here, that some INZ officers at least, will take a strict approach and decline residence to those with character issues. There are ways that the risk of being declined can be greatly reduced, and these will differ from case to case. Now, that was the first two groups. So the third group, and some of you may have already guessed, that are going to face obstacles in being granted residence are those with health issues. Those who don't meet the health criteria will need a medical waiver to be granted residence. Furthermore, the automatic medical waivers afforded to some in, for example, the partnership residence category are unlikely to be available in this category. Again, there are a number of ways that the risk of being declined can be greatly reduced in these cases, and these will again differ from case to case. Finally, what does the future of New Zealand immigration look like? People who do not meet the criteria for one-off residence visas will need to look at what other residence pathways or temporary visa options may be available to them. Of course, for partners of New Zealand residents, Immigration New Zealand will continue to accept and process residence applications on partnership grounds. This may be somewhat complicated with the continuing COVID crisis in New Zealand and across the world. For students and workers who have missed out on the special visa, unfortunately the skilled migrant category will remain closed to new applications until the 30th of July 2021, at which time it is anticipated that a new policy will take its place. It's unclear at this stage what that policy will look like. Before COVID-19 hit, the government had made moves to significantly reduce the number of skilled immigrants to New Zealand. However, the immigration landscape has now completely changed. As the number of new international students and new overseas workers has reduced to close to zero levels, and skill shortages in the construction and health sectors in particular will be continuing into the foreseeable future, it will be interesting to see how this and coming governments chart a new course for future immigration to New Zealand in a post-vaccination world. Thanks for watching our brief guide to New Zealand's one-off residence visa policy. If you found this interesting, you know what to do. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. Until next time, this is Hardeep Singh signing off for HS Law. Thanks for watching.